Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Boom! I hope people go on the website. I hope people go on YouTube. I hope people check out the photos because this is great. Okay, I think you're making a selfie or somebody's right in your face, making a photo of your face. You've got, I guess it could be like something like a headband. Maybe it's like a GoPro headband or something.
GoPro camera.
Right. But anyway, so, you're looking right close, your face and body, you're wearing a gray t-shirt, take up just about half or more than half of the photo frame. Behind you, and this is possibly, your expression is absolutely explosively happy. Behind you is this incredible bamboo forest and a silverback gorilla sitting on its haunches, chopping away at it could be a shoot or something of bamboo or something.
Yeah.
Must be about like 20 feet, 30 feet away from you. Massive animal that could totally cause some serious damage, but it's just like, doesn't care about you too much. Is this all CGI or were you actually there? That was legit. You. That was there.
That is legit. That's the volcanic rainforest of northern Rwanda. That is 2015 when we went up to see the mountain gorillas, and that was the first moment that was the first gorilla that we saw. You hike for like 2-3 hours, and it's exhausting. And we finally found this family of gorillas that we were looking for, and that was the first one that we saw. And so that was somebody taking a picture of me, and I was just like, no way, no way. And then it just got crazier from there. But that was the first moment that we encountered the Agashia family of mountain gorillas.
That's incredible. Okay, and you say it got crazier from there?
Yeah.
That's already pretty crazy. What do you mean?
Crazy until, I could tell you hours and hours of stories. But yeah, once we kind of got into the family, there's 12 members of the family, and we watched these two young gorillas were playing, and they're like climbing this bamboo tree, super flexible. They'd use their weight to bring the top of the tree all the way down to the ground. And they'd hold on to the top of the tree when they jump up, still holding the top of the tree.
Of course.
And when it would snap straight like a pole vaulter. And when they got to the top, they'd release and they go somersaulting up through the air. They roll down, and once in a while they rolled too close to us, and the mama would come over and got really close to us. And then, the big thing was at one point, the silverback gorilla touched me on the back, came up behind me,
wow,
and started grunting, and I'm just frozen because I'm trying to remember. They teach you in training, what if this happens? It came right around in front of me. It was like 2 feet in front of me, just like squared me up, and it was so intense and amazing and all of those things, and nothing happened. I just wanted to make sure that, I knew that this was their turf, this was his family, and but just those moments, and I caught some of that on a GoPro camera, and it was just but it was so. I tell everybody it was the greatest hour of my life. And no offense to my wife and kids, but it was. From a pure hour perspective, that's what you get. You get 1 hour with them from when you first see them. That's the license. And so,
okay,
it was epic. It was just one of those surreal moments of the gorillas, the team members, the view over northern Rwanda, the rainforest. It was just a amazing moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things for somebody listening, and also for me, right? Like when I think safari, for example, usually that's in a Jeep. Usually there's some kind of mechanical or some kind of distance between yourself and the animals and everything. But here you hiked in. And that's the thing, is the proximity, is that you're standing there and behind you is this very large.
Oh yeah.
Super that's all muscle primate.
They walk past bamboo trees and just snap them off. They're massive creatures. Yeah.
Okay. So how do we turn this, other than the fact that it's like super inspiring and maybe a listener will be like, oh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But how do we turn, what's the teachable moment here?
Yeah. The big thing, and that's why I use this story in my talks, is because exactly what you said. The first 3 trips to Africa we went on, we did the traditional safari stuff, and it was amazing, right? It's Jeeps, it's the Serengeti, it's giraffes, lions, zebra, all that kind of stuff. And then when we were preparing for the 4th trip, the guide said, so what kind of African safari experience do you want to have? And it was just like that question that the therapist asked me, what kind of experience do you want to have? And we were like, well, what are you talking about? The African safari kind of experience. I mean, Jeeps, whatever. And they were like, you know what? There are way more choices beyond the default than most people realize that you can choose from. And the teachable moment is, there's the default way to live. There's the default sort of experience, and it can be a good experience, just like an African safari. That's great. Those are great experiences. But unless we ask the question, unless we're asked the question, we don't realize that there are choices beyond the default in our life. We don't have to live life by default, by what we've inherited, by the norms, by all of those things. There's more options, and we actually get to choose. And so the teachable moment was when I started asking him, well, what other options are there? All we've done is these other Jeep things, and they've all been great. He's like, well, you can go, like you mentioned, the Maasai. You can go to the Maasai Mara. You can take hot air balloon rides over herds of elephants and follow them. You can take nighttime boat rides looking for Nile crocodiles. You could go bungee jumping in Victoria Falls. You could go see the mountain gorillas in northern Rwanda. And so just having him kind of open our eyes to the fact that, an African safari isn't just an African safari. There's all these other options. Because, you don't think of mountain gorillas when you think of safari. You think of acacia trees and landscapes. And so the teachable moment is a lot of times there are different ways that we can live our life beyond what we just think of, beyond what we've seen, beyond the people that we know. And the exploring that and trying to understand that and realizing we can actually choose. We can choose the kind of experience we want to have on African safari or on life. To me, that's the big teachable moment out of there.
Okay. So for the person who can't get away,
sure,
because there's the exoticism of taking a flight and, having that experience, right? But for the person who's like, I don't know, who lives in Montreal, she's a nutritionist, she has to raise 2 kids, wakes up every day, has to put food on the table, has to deal with life, or you know what I mean? Or in my case, I've been struggling to because of the pandemic and all this stuff to find work and everything. Like, is your approach more like a coach, or is your approach more like an inspirational speaker where I go like, oh, maybe I can try that. So what's the...
No, I get it. I love it. The overarching piece is approaching every day like it's an epic adventure. The safari is just I've had the great experiences, and I feel very blessed to be able to do those things. And it was part of doing humanitarian work and all this stuff. But like those are stories. I mean, it's a story, but it's a picture of, I haven't been on one for quite a few years, but I've shared this with other people through coaching, through my friendships, through speaking. And the idea isn't that, we all get to go on an African safari, and if we don't, we can't have this sort of amazing life. The idea is that everyday life, waking up and seeing that life is an epic adventure. How do we want to approach it? And it's an invitation for us to realize that we have more agency than we realize. And so, the mom of 2, single mom, whatever, maybe she's not going to go to Africa, that kind of thing. But what can you do? What kind of experience do you want to have in the midst of that? What kind of parent do you want to be? What kind of relationships do you want to have? Who do you want to surround yourself with? Who are the right peeps in the Jeep, as I say? It's sort of being intentional, but starting with, in the midst of the life that I have now, what kind of experience do I want to have? Do I want to have more laughter? Do I want to have more seriousness? Do I want to have more rest? Do I want to have more peace? Do I want to have more chaos? Do I want to have, more group friendships? Do I want to have more single friendships? Do I want to have less friends? Do I want to spend more time with my family, less time with my family? Like, being honest about what is the experience you want to have. So it's not about all this crazy things. The safari just kind of paints a fun picture for that. But it's ultimately, what kind of life do I actually want to have in the midst of my capability, in the midst of my resources? It doesn't have to be exotic. And then it's about being intentional, about saying, okay, well, if I want to have more laughter in my life, who are the right peeps in my Jeep? Am I surrounded by people that make me laugh? Or am I surrounded by people that are negative Nellies and whatever? And realizing that we can actually control the peeps in our Jeep. We don't have to give people the voice that we're giving them now. And we can invite people in. And I think it's an invitation to be intentional about pursuing the life you actually want. It's not really an invitation to having to be, go on exotic safari adventures. But I think it paints this picture. And I think what helps people is to wake up in the morning and realize that I can live life the safari way in the midst of what I have here today.
Right.
People have little reminders like, okay, life's an adventure. And so rather than, kind of realizing, living, a lot of us live life like between the adventures, like we're waiting for the next day off, we're waiting for the next client, we're waiting for the next kid's party. And the rest of life is just kind of, we're punching a clock, doing our thing. Yeah, we have responsibilities, but the invitation is to say, you know what, that itself is the adventure. You know, Helen Keller said, life is either an epic adventure or it's nothing at all. And so that's the invitation, is to start to just change our perspective. So to answer your question, I mean, it's kind of coaching, it's more inspirational, but it's just more of an invitation to say, what if we woke up every day and realized that this is another day that we get to have on this life safari? And I know that sounds cliche, and I probably would have laughed at myself 20 years ago, you know, oh, motivational speaker or something. But it's true, and it's changing the lives of people, just that tweak in our perspective.
So somebody's listening to this. I'm talking to you. I'm open, listeners open. What is step one?
Yeah, step one of this is really to figure out what kind of experience do you actually want to have. And, you know, maybe it's through a therapist, maybe it's just through a friend, maybe it's just somebody you trust that can ask you those kind of questions. But find that person that can actually kind of challenge you. What kind of experience do you actually want to have? And again, it's not about, I want to, you know, travel the world. I want to, you know, get a promotion. It's not even what you do. It's the heart kind of experience when you know, and so part of that is the hardest part is to define what that is, because we have all of these, you know, we talked about the defaults, the expectations, the shoulds. What am I supposed to want? And I think the hard part is to strip all of that away, to have somebody ask the question and say, is that really what you want? Or is that just what you're supposed to want? You know, I mean, and just being gut level honest with the kind of life experience that you want to have. It's hard, but once you figure that out, now you can start to build on it. And I say the story, if you don't have that, it's so hard to do the rest of it. It's so hard to find freedom. It's so hard to find adventure, because it's like Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And I think so many of us live our life in that way, that we don't really know what kind of life experience we want, or what kind of experience we want in leadership or in our job, or you know, as a coach or whatever that, you know, your business is. We don't really know what we want, and so we just take whatever road is there.
Right.
Sometimes it works out fine. Sometimes we end up in our car when we're 48 years old having an anxiety attack, unable to go inside, you know. And so I think that's the step one, is clarifying what kind of experience do you want to have. And it's harder than it sounds, but boy, there's freedom that comes with that. That's step one.
Got it. Yes, that makes perfect sense, to have a vision of where, you know, basically have a vision of what you're aiming for, and write it down. Or what would you, how would you suggest a person makes it concrete, as rather than it just be like a brain fart that they forget within a week?
Yeah, I mean, and part of it could be vision, could be things that you actually want to accomplish. Part of it's just the kind of life that you want to live. And so I would say anything you can do to put reminders around yourself. I know I've got all my little reminders. I got a little zebra here, which is sort of corny, but it's like I see it every day. You know, life is a safari. Let's go. And so whatever it takes to remind you. Maybe some people, you know, when they wake up in the morning, before they get out of bed, I don't do this. I wish I had the discipline, but before they get out of bed, they have a little mantra, or they have 3 things they do, or a question they ask themselves. Or just say, you know, what, you know, before you get out of bed, before you get started, before you go shower, before you make coffee, before you have your first meeting, center yourself on whatever that is. I want to be a person that laughs more. I mean, just say that.
Right.
I'm going to look for opportunities to laugh, or I'm going to look for opportunities to be serious, and just somehow remind yourself. But then, man, find somebody in your life that can hold you accountable if you're that kind of a person. Have somebody that's going to text you every day and just say, did you laugh today? Or, you know, whatever it might be. And find that community of people that's going to support you and encourage you according to the experience you want to have. And this doesn't have to be, you don't have to be super popular. You don't have to have this huge friendship network. I don't have many friends. I'm like one of those guys that people like assume you have friends. I'm like, I don't really have many close friends at all. You know, everybody's kind of looking for a friend, but just find
you have your people.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of find your people little by little. And I've had to change out a lot of my people as I've rediscovered this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those aren't really my people anymore. I love them. They're good people. It's not about if they're good peeps or bad peeps. It's about if they're the right peeps in your Jeep. And I think once you define what kind of experience you want to have, now you define, well, who are the people that are going to support me, encourage me according to that experience. And when you start to surround yourself with people, set reminders, set a timer on your phone. I don't know, that has a label on it that says laugh. And if you need to, go watch a cat video. I mean, I don't know, whatever it is that gets you going. And so, there's intentionality around this, but it starts with a clear vision of what it is that you're looking for.
Love it. So as you're saying this, I'm looking at the photo of you just eyes so wide and open, mouth agape, so alive with this massive gorilla behind you. And with that, we're going to go on to your last photo.
All right.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.